Good evening to all respected JCs, dignitaries, youth participants, and guests who have joined us from near and far. A warm welcome to LAKSHYA, Awakening India's Future Defenders, proudly presented by JCI Triprayar. LAKSHYA is designed to bring clarity, courage, and commitment in youngsters who feel inspired to the idea of serving our nation in uniform, yet they seek the right direction and preparation. Today, March 3rd, holds special national significance. It is observed as National Defense Day in India, a day where we honor the courage, discipline, and sacrifice of the Indian armed forces who safeguard our sovereignty and freedom. It is a reminder that the nation stands strong because there's someone who's standing ready. Today's session aims to translate admiration into understanding, aspiration into planning, and motivation into decisive action. To guide us, we have a wonderful speaker who has served in uniform, defended justice through law, and trained thousands to lead with purpose. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our Vice President for Community Development, none other than JFM Raji Suryaj, to do a pleasant task.
Thank you for giving this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, our speaker today represents a rare journey, one that begins on the battlefield, strengthens in the courtroom, and inspires in the training hall. Before becoming a distinguished advocate practicing across multiple high courts and civil and criminal courts in India, he served the nation in the Indian Army, where discipline, leadership, and sacrifice became a way of life. That experience shaped his mindset forever and today. He brings those values to youth who aspire to serve India with honor. With over a decade in legal practice, appointments as amicus curiae, contributions to High Court drafting committees, a world record in training, and having trained 35,000 plus individuals, his journey reflects commitment backed by action. He is also a respected JCI leader, national trainer, and social contributor honored by the government of Goa. Youth of today, if you have ever wondered, is the uniform meant for me? This session is your moment of clarity. Please join me in welcoming JCI Senator Advocate Eeshan Usapkar.
Thank you so much, Nirmala ma'am, and thank you, Raji, for that introduction. A very, very good evening, my dear friends. So, without any further ado, let me get started with what we are here for. And while we do so, let me just ask a couple of questions, of which I'm expecting some answers in the chat box. Right. Number one, if at all you get the opportunity of serving your nation, and if at all you get the opportunity of wearing the army uniform, what is that first word that will come to your mind? Just one word. Let me see it in the chat box. Okay, Teja says, it was my dream, sir. Okay. Site says bravery. Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Nirmala ma'am says nation. Anjali says gratitude. And Mugil says Jai Hind. Okay, pride by Suraj. Fine. So a lot of thoughts come to our minds, but at the same time, we have a lot of love, a lot of respect for our men in uniform, but also a question for all the young people. How do I get there? What is the journey ahead? How do you join? Why do you join? How do you look at the things that are about to happen in the future if at all I join the armed forces? So let me try and answer a majority of these questions, and let me also share my own journey, which will help at least the youngsters in understanding what goes into making a man into an army officer. So, friends, even before I share how do we join, let me just share my journey of how I got into a little bit of the army, if I may say so. Well, my journey started in the year 1999 when I saw a dream on a black and white TV because that's the kind of TV we had in our house. I was in school at that point in time, primary school to be precise. And in the year 1999, something really big was unfolding in our country. I'm sure this image strikes a bell for everybody. It was the Kargil War. And while watching the Kargil War, the small little kid that I was, watching all of it unfold during the May vacation, there was one dream that came about, and the dream was in life, if I have to do something, it is join the army. In life, if I have to become somebody, it is an army officer. And that's how the dream started. But the only problem is the dream was being seen by a person who was extremely short, extremely thin. So, anyways, in 8th standard, this boy changed his schools, left his earlier school, joined a new school only because he wanted to join NCC. Army like uniform, the National Cadet Corps, that is what he wanted to join in 8th standard. So he switched schools, went to the new school, only to be told on day one that sorry, we can't take you, you are too short, you are too thin. What do you think that 8th standard boy must have done? Well, he started crying, crying so badly that he fully turned red. So the teachers had some mercy on him and they said, fine, if you really wanted this badly, then this Saturday we have a running race. If you come first, we will take you. And that was a nice way of saying no, or rather, much like saying, I like you, but as a friend. But, anyways, the Saturday came, and while everybody else was running like this, I ran as if there were 10 mad dogs running behind me. But with whatever motivation or inspiration I had at the back of my mind, I landed up coming first in that race that was held on that day. And that's the medal that you can see me holding. And you can also see how thin I used to be at that point in time. Well, after that, the teachers had no choice but to take me into NCC. And then they had to take me. And after taking me, I started participating in everything that was ever provided as an opportunity to me. Friends, it is important to see a dream, but sometimes when the world says you cannot do it, it's most important to dare to say, I will do it. And that is when I joined NCC. A lot of my friends used to wonder how am I able to lift a rifle that is almost my own height. But anyways, with whatever I had at the back of my mind, I managed to do that. Went on to participate in all kinds of camps and competitions, participated to win a lot of prizes in NCC, but that is how the journey began. And then came a very important junction when I got the opportunity of representing my state to a camp which was held in Ladakh and also getting an opportunity to be in my dream destination, that is Kargil itself. So we were taken by that side and got to fire all kinds of guns and weaponry and see the army in the first hand view in itself. And after that, went on to win the Best Cadet Award. Friends, all this would not have been possible if I had given up in 8th standard. And thereafter, people told me, again, you cannot do it. You cannot answer the army entrance exam and clear it because very few people manage to do it. But, anyways, I decided that I will make an attempt. And with my first attempt, I managed to come second in the All India merit list, and that merit list still exists out there on the internet. And things were going picture perfect. Newspapers out here in Goa were covering my interviews, were showing me on the front pages because very rarely you have people from Goa joining the forces, and that too, somebody coming second in the All India merit list. So things were going picture perfect. I joined the Officers Training Academy in Chennai. I was undergoing my training. Things were going picture perfect. And I was about to be a lieutenant in a few months from when my training began. Fired all kinds of guns and weapons, been to all kinds of places and scenarios. And through all of this journey, I learned a simple lesson. And the lesson was in life, if you want to achieve your laksh, in life, if you want to achieve your goals, you must first dream about it. When you start dreaming about it, your situations around you, people around you will always tell you, tumse na ho paega. You can't do it. And that's when you have to dare to do it. And then finally, when you dare, that is ultimately when you perceive, you remain consistent, and that is when you will land up doing it. So that's the first thing that I'm sharing to everybody, friends. If you want to join the forces, number one, dream it. Situations will say you can't do it. People will say you can't do it. That's when you need to dare. And then finally, with continuous work, hard work, continuous motivation that you keep giving to yourself, you'll ultimately land up doing it. That's the three things that we need to do. And friends, my journey did not stop there. With a few months remaining for my training, I had an accident, had my entire shoulder dislocated, and had to undergo a couple of surgeries. And because of that, I had to leave the army and come back. And that's when I joined the legal profession, became a lawyer, and here I am today, 10 years sitting with legal profession and being a part of the legal fraternity. Well, friends, that was my journey. But irrespective of that journey which took place, the lesson that I always learned and I keep sharing with everybody I meet in life, you should never give up. And that's in fact the core value that you will require when you try to join the army or even thereafter. Because number one, why should a person join the army? Well, I'd like to know from you first before I start sharing. Can you tell me in the chat box, why should a person join the army? Let's just see what you have at the back of your mind. Why to join the army? And when I say army, let me now make it more open. Why to join any defense service, whether it's the army, the air force, the navy, the coast guard, or anything else of that similar nature? Okay. I'm still waiting for answers. Yes, Sitesh says responsibility to give back to your motherland. Nirmala ma'am says a lot of challenges. Teja says it's a pride. Candy says to stop enemies. Okay, that's interesting. Fine. Let me now share with you what I feel. Why should a person join the forces? If you look over here, there are four things that I've mentioned. But at the core of it all is your passion to serve the nation. That has to be number one. It should not be the money that you will earn. It should not be the uniform that looks good on you. It should not be the respect that you will get. These are all secondary, or sometimes these are not even important. The number one is serve the nation. And thereafter, because you love pride and honor, because you love adventure, you love to travel, and because you also wish to create a level of respect or more respect for you in the society. So these would be the top four reasons why a person should join the forces. And if you have this question answered, I'm sure the next question that could probably come to your mind is what to join, right? There are so many things we hear about defense forces. So let me make it slightly clearer what to join. Well, you are already aware that we have the Army, the Navy, the Air Force. But also, apart from these three, you have other opportunities that are available to you, which include the Indian Coast Guard, the CRPF, the BSF, and the ITBP. So these are also options which are all in uniform. Now, within the army, people often think that, oh, if I join the army, it is just that I will be a soldier. No. In the army, you have the infantry and the armored corps, you have engineers, you have medical corps, you have doctors, you have nurses, you have JAG, that is judges, advocate general. So basically, you even have lawyers out there in the army, you have technical officers. So all of these different things are available in the army. Similarly, in the navy, you have, of course, the sailors, but apart from that, you would have the executive branch, the engineers, the naval aviation. You have pilots who are flying aircrafts for the Navy, right? Then you have submarine services, you have logistics. Within the Air Force, people usually think Air Force is only the pilots. No, apart from the pilots, you have the technical branch, you have ground duty, and so many more. Here, what I've fitted on this PowerPoint presentation or on this slide is something just, I would say, 20 to 30% of what all is part of the forces. But beyond this, just think of it of a independent operational organization. Everything that an organization would require, each and everything is available within the forces, or each and every kind of person is required within the forces. Right from a chef to a nurse to somebody who is going to just clean around the place, everybody, right? But these are the major branches which require and which have a requirement for which you can look or aspire. After what to join, I'm sure the next question people will often have is when to join, right? Because a lot of people must have heard you can join after your graduation. Some people may have heard after 12th. Some people must have thought, oh, immediately after schooling, can I join? Those kind of questions will definitely be there. So to answer those, let me put this in slightly better perspective. You can get SSC, that is short service commission, or you can even apply for permanent commission. Either you can go for Agniveer scheme, which is very recently joined. You can even go post your 10th marks. You have the territorial army, where you have people like MS Dhoni, who are also part of the territorial army, right? So if you want permanent commission, then definitely after class 12, you can answer for the National Defense Academy. We have the NDA in Pune, Khadak Masala to be more precise. You also have technical entry scheme that is available. So these are after class 12 and after your requisite courses. Similarly, after graduation, you can move for SSC or permanent commission, that is short service or permanent commission. For that, you can answer your CDS exam, the Combined Defense Services exam. You have FCAT, which is for the Air Force. And also you have direct entry, that is the NCC Special Entry Scheme. Well, at least when I joined under the direct entry, that is the NCC Special Entry Scheme. So basically in NCC, you have three certificates, A, B, and C. A certificate is usually granted after your school days. That's basically when you do your NCC in 8th and 9th standard. You'll get your B certificate during your higher secondary days or during your first year when you are in the senior division or the senior wing. And then the C certificate you will get during the final year of your NCC tenure and as a senior division or a senior wing cadet. So for NCC special entry, you need to have your C certificate with mark list or the marks as specified for that particular year. Apart from that, very recently, we have this Agniveer scheme for which the age limits, as you can see on the screen, it's starting right from 17 years, 6 months, going all the way up to 21 years. And that too, you can apply for general duty, you can apply for technical, office assistant, tradesman, all these different opportunities are available. Now, I am again showing you just 5% of when to join or even how to join. If you require more details, towards the end, we'll have a Q&A. You can freely ask me questions. I'll share my numbers also at the end. We can connect one-to-one. Or better than that too, you have the joinindianarmy.nic.in. I'll share the website later with you in the chat box too, where all of these informations are available from the authentic source, that is the Indian Army or the other forces too. Similarly, for the other forces, they have their respective websites from where you'll get all these kind of details. Now, having answered when to join, let me now take you to the next question, how to join. What are the exams? Well, you can either join or aspire for the National Defense Academy. As I mentioned earlier, for NDA, you're going after your 12th standard. Or you can go for Combined Defense Services exams called the CDS after graduation. Or you can go for FCAT, that is the Air Force Common Admission Test. Or you can also look for NCC Special Entry Scheme, which I just explained a couple of seconds back. And after doing your written exams, you would have something very interesting called the SSB, the Service Selection Board. Very interesting, I must say, because this is a 5-day assessment. Usually when you apply for a job elsewhere, it will be a 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes interview or maybe a day of interviews. The number of cadets or the number of participants who come to answer SSB is huge. Typically, in a single SSB batch, you will have approximately around 200 candidates at a time who are applying. And that too, before that, there are written tests for which more than 1,000 or a lakh people are applying. Out of that, you'll have just around 1,000 odd who will be then coming in for an SSB. Each batch, maybe around 200 odd people. Out of those 200 odd people, just about 20 to 30 people will be screened in. The remaining people will be screened out. 80 to 90% people will be screened out on day one itself. The remaining 15-20% odd, those will remain for the remaining 4 days, and that's how the 5-day assessment. Out of all those set of people, only around max to max 10 people will get recommended at the end of that entire cycle, and we there after the 5 days. For the remaining 5 days, they'll be undergoing all kind of medical tests, right? And what all happens during these 5 days, the initial 5 days? You'll have psychological tests, You'll have group discussions and tasks. You'll have leadership activities. You'll have personal interviews. And you'll also have your medical examination. All of this will be conducted with you, right? Because during these 5 days, what is being checked? Your confidence, your decision making skills, your leadership abilities, your team spirit, and most importantly, OLQs. Now, what is this OLQs? Well, let me ask you in the chat box. Let me see if any of you can figure out what is this OLQs. And then I will tell you what is OLQs. No Google, no chat GPT, please. If you know the answer, you either type the answer. If you don't know the answer, just type zero in the chat box so that I know that there are a lot of people who do not know the answers. Oh, great. I have Teja and Chandramati who have answered absolutely correctly. That is OLQs is officer-like qualities. Okay. So officer-like qualities, basically when I meet a person, when I see a person, does he or she look like an army officer or an Air Force officer or a Navy officer, right? There are certain things that are looked at, and these are called as OLQs. Quite a big list, I must say, but I'll just keep it short at OLQs. Fine. Next, friends, another question may be coming to your mind, that is, who should join? And I would, in fact, stress quite a lot on this part of it. Because I've often seen people who join the forces but do not really sustain there. Because they only look at pictures mein jo dikhate hai, what is seen in the movies, what is seen in the television, but the television, what you see versus the reality as it is obviously different, right? But who should join? Let me say it in a very specific manner. If you are somebody who is capable of living your life according to strict discipline, come, join us. If you're okay with frequent transfers, sometimes being in Kashmir, sometimes Kanyakumari, sometimes in the northeast, and sometimes in the middle of nowhere, then yes, come join. If you are okay with time away from your family, very, very important, then yes, come join us. If you're okay with maintaining your physical standards and keeping them very, very high, then yes, come join us. And last, if you are capable of handling risk and responsibility, then come join us. So these are the five main things. And while these five things are there, who should join? People who have good physical fitness, who have good mental strength, who have leadership capabilities, who have confidence, patriotism, and discipline. Now, I have made them into two different charts because on the left hand side, the chart that you see, or the five elements that you see on the left hand side, that is what comes after you join there. Whereas the five things which you see on your right, these are five things you need to start building today onwards, right now. Whether you are in your fifth standard, whether you are in your sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, college, wherever you are, if you are aspiring to join the forces, you need to start working on these five things right away. And let me tell you again, I prepared to join the forces when I was in fourth standard. I started my preparation from that phase on. Today, whatever be my body shape, at one point in time before joining the forces, I had proper four-pack abs. I was able to run an easy marathon, absolutely no doubts whatsoever. I had that kind of physical standards at that point in time. Mentally strong, definitely. You have to be because you will be spending time away from your family and friends. You will be in situations where you do not know whether you'll wake up alive the next day. So, what is required? Strong mentality, right? You should have the mindset to say, Kayar hunu bhanda marunu ramro, which basically says or basically translates into, it is better to die than live like a coward. You need to have that kind of a mindset, right? Because sometimes when you are on the front line, you are in a warlike zone, at that point in time, you will probably see your best friend dying next to you in your arms, probably. And yet, you have to have the mental strength to say, I shall go on. Right? So, mental strength, absolutely important. You need to start working on it right away. Leadership, well, Majority of you JCI members, some of you are informed about today's session by JCI. Let me say, I joined JCI when I was in 8th standard, and I must say a big thank you to JCI for making me capable enough of being able to answer the SSB exam and come second in that merit list. Because my leadership, my confidence was built by JCI. Because in JCI, what we'll end up doing is every now and then you are project director, project coordinator, project manager for some of the other important event there, leadership opportunity. And that's how you learn to lead, how to take your team along, because that is exactly what you will get tested during the SSB, your leadership skills. Because in leadership, how you are able to address your group, how you are able to portray yourself, how you are able to rise up to whatever challenge is being forced in front of you is all leadership at the end of it all. So yes, if some of you are still not JCI members, probably you can join now and so that you can work on your leadership skills. Let me say that with my own personal experience. Confidence. How do you build confidence? Well, have you ever seen an army officer who is shy? Definitely not, because that's not a place for shy people, right? That's a place for confident people. And how do you build confidence? Put yourself in different situations, put yourself in front of different people at every point in time. Every day, if you do the same thing, every day, if you meet the same people, then you will also remain the same. You'll never grow. If you wish to grow, you need to meet more people. You need to put yourself in more situations, different situations, but build your confidence. Well, patriotism, non negotiable. That's the ultimate requirement if you want to join forces because money will fade, power will fade, patriotism will be permanent. If you have that kind of passion, then only join the forces. Otherwise, this place is not meant for you. Discipline, you need to build your discipline because in the army, every minute is accounted for. When we were there undergoing training, right from what time we would wake up, what time we would use the washroom, what time we would press our clothes, what time we are required on the ground, a minute to minute program was made out for us and we had to follow it to thin nail. If you don't follow it, be ready for punishment. Yes, and I can't really share what kind of punishment, but very interesting punishments. And at the end of it all, it makes you stronger, it makes you better. That's all I can say for now, right? But discipline is definitely non-negotiable. So, friends, who should join these 10 things on the screen that you see? The five which are on the left-hand side, if you're able to handle those five, and the five on the right-hand side, if you're able to build those five right now, then yes, you should join the armed forces, whether it is the army, the navy, or the air force, or any other forces that we otherwise have spoken about so far, right? So this is who should join. So with that, friends, I come to the end of my first part of the session because I told Siddesh today very specifically I will speak less, but I will answer more because when we go to speak, especially on a topic like this, we have a very limited way of approaching things. But when we answer questions, I think we can be much more interactive. We can give much more insights of how things work. So, other than that, thank you and Jai Hind. For those of you who have a question, please put it in the chat box so that I can start answering those questions right away. If you'd like to unmute, then with due permission from President Sitesh and the team, we could do it in that way also. And there are some people who are aspiring to join the forces in the future too. If you need any guidance, any help, any assistance, I have shared my personal phone number and my social media handle on Insta or Facebook, everywhere it's the same at the rate Eeshan India. You can feel free to get in touch with me and I'll be more than happy to share whatever knowledge I have so that you can achieve your lakshya, you can achieve your goal of whatever you wish to do. Now, usually when I do these online presentations, I prefer wearing a blazer or a Modi koti as we call it. But today I said, let me open up from my old t-shirt. So this is the Indian Army t-shirt which I had at that point in time. So let me use that t-shirt itself, I said. So while we were having this session, I found this t-shirt somewhere in the house. I kept it safely, but kept it quite deep in the house. Finally managed to get that. Yes. Let me now go ahead and look at the questions as we have. We have exactly, I think, around 10 minutes 15 minutes left for the session, so let me go ahead with the questions. Yes.
So thank you, sir, for this beautiful, inspiring, and mind boggling session. And of course, everyone on the floor is open for feedback and questions. I would like the participants to give us one key learning you all have got from today's session, or ask a doubt or clarification regarding the defense career pathways, or reflection that has resonated with you personally in this session. You may either raise your hand or type your feedback in the chat box, but let us use this moment to reflect, clarify, and engage.
Okay, sorry, we had a current shutdown over here, so it just connected on the alternate Wi-Fi. Fine. So can joining in a Sainik school help? That's the question by Candy. So the answer is yes. Being a part of the Sainik school can definitely be helpful because you have NCC present over there. Apart from that, you are growing up with kids whose parents are in the forces, majority of them at least. And apart from that, you will have a big cultural exchange with the set of officers who are otherwise coming to the Sainik school along with their own students or their own children. So that all things will definitely help. The kind of discipline that Sainik schools otherwise are renowned for, that also builds the mindset that you would require for joining the forces. So yes, joining a Sainik school can definitely help. Right. Next, I am seeing a question from President Sitesh itself. So, for those who may not wear uniform of army, what mindset from army life should a person, say from JCI, can adopt to serve the nation meaningfully? Well, that's a very wonderful question, and I can answer that with a couple of quotes, I would say. In the army, we have this beautiful line called "Pehla Hamesha Pehla," which basically translates into first, always first. Because imagine you are standing with a fully loaded rifle on this side, your enemy is standing with a fully loaded rifle on the other side. Who is going to survive? The person shooting first, right? Right? So, in life also, you must attempt to be first at anything and everything that you do. Now, some of you may say, oh, I'm already grown up enough. I don't have any exams to answer and come first anywhere. I'm not running any race for me to come first anywhere. Well, that's not important. Being first also starts from being first for yourself. I'll give you a just simple example. Uh, how many of you use an alarm clock to wake up in the morning? Quite a lot of us. How many of us press the snooze button multiple times in the morning? Quite a lot of us, right? But then the army life taught us that for every snooze button that you press, you are going from first to second, second to third, third to fourth. Being first is also waking up by yourself in time. Because with every snooze that you press, you are actually harming your body because we actually require something called as sleep cycles for our sleep to be properly effective. Otherwise, you must have seen, in spite of completing a good 8 hours or 10 hours of sleep on a Sunday, you wake up and then you go back to sleep. But second time when you sleep and you wake up tired. That's because you overslept, right? That's because you've not completed a proper sleep cycle. So please wake up on time. That's one thing that you can learn. Pehla hamesha pehla. Be first in whatever you do. If you're into business, take that into a direct translation of coming up with new products, coming up with something first in your industry before anyone else does, because that has the highest probability of winning, right? The next thing that we learned in the army was a very important virtue, and that important virtue was being able to defeat your enemy. Shatrujit, as we called it. All of us have an enemy over here. All of us. You know, the biggest enemy everybody has is you yourself, the person you see in the mirror. Because the only person stopping you from doing something big in life is you. In fact, there's a very beautiful question which people are asked, which is the richest place in the world? The answer is not the Swiss bank, and the answer is not, some State Bank of India or some country in the Middle East. It's not. It is the graveyard. It is the Smashan Bhumi, whichever way you like to call it. Because that is one place where the most number of dreams have been either burnt or buried. People have died with their dreams. Never let that happen. Make sure you live your life to the fullest. There's a wrong quote which people say, you live only once. I say that's a wrong quote. The correct quote is you die only once. You live every day. Okay, that's the thing the army taught us. That every day that you get, you do something bigger, you do something interesting. So when I had to leave the army and come back, my doctors had told me you're not supposed to ride a bike ever in your life. I regained health. It took me approximately around a year or so for regaining health. It took me around a year or so for regaining health. But after regaining, I did bike rides from Goa to Kerala also. I came for my NTTTS by bike. I did from Goa to Gujarat, Goa to Madhya Pradesh, and many more. Just a couple of days, I bought a new Himalayan bike, the new Himalayan 450. I'm hoping to go to Ladakh this year, this May. Let's see how things pan out. May month being the court vacation. So, yeah, these are all things that the army mindset helped me, and I'm sure it will help you too. Many more to share, but I don't think we have that much of time for doing that right now. That probably for some other session. But yes, these are just a couple of quick things which I could share on that question. The next one, I have a question from Suraj, who's saying, how does the army support work-life balance? Suraj, in the army, there is a saying which says, that work is worship. Work is worship, and everything else is secondary. So even the family life, as you may have heard of or known, it exists. But if you are in your forward positions, you are at the forward paces, there'll be months when you'll not see your family. At least now there will be ways and means to communicate with your family members. But if you are in a forward area like the Siachen glaciers for that matter, you may not even be able to communicate quite often with your family members. So work-life balance, well, that exists, but only if you're in a peace posting. If you're in the forward lines, if you are out there on the northeast border or on the northern side of the Himalayas, then definitely there you will have to keep your life as the army, your life as the country, and that's the work life that you'll have to balance. The family will have to come second. In fact, that's one of the reasons why the army wives or the army husbands they are considered quite strong because you'll have months and years without your partner, without your spouse, and yet there you are waiting to embrace them after they come back from their duties. So salutes to them too.
Yes, sir. Happy Holi first. Sir, my question is, means how difficult was it to transition from your army life to civilian life? How much time did it take, and how did you cope up with that change?
For me, it was a change of mindsets. It was a change of body also, to say it in a very different way, I would say. Because it's very easy to overcome problems when those problems are created by people or those problems are created by somebody else. But it's very difficult to overcome when the problem is created by your own body. That it's more like saying that, oh, I am not good enough or my body is not good enough right now. And for me, that was the phase because of whatever medical difficulties and surgeries and other things. It took a big toll on my mental health. I had to be quite strong at that point in time. A lot of support was required because the body also was giving its own set of issues. It took me more than a year for me to regain full strength in this right hand of mine. I was not even able to lift my hand to write anything. Even the pen, holding a pen was a task. I was not able to do that for the first 6, 7 months. It took me a year to regain strength. It took me approximately more 6 to 7 months for me to be in a position to, be lifting my hand all the way up to a proper normal angle. So it took me 1.5 years. It took me quite a lot of medication, surgeries, of course, to do all that. But the mindset shift, I would say thank you to that phase which took place in my life, right from that time when I was rejected in 8th standard because I was short and thin to be joined into NCC. That somewhere all those difficulties since childhood, which I had seen and I had faced, they made me somewhere mentally strong to say that if I've taken care of all these kind of problems all these whiles, then probably now also whatever comes my way, I will take care of all of it. Because when I transitioned from the army life to the lawyer life, a lot of family members had their own doubts and questions because while I was doing my law or pursuing my law, I was also working part time in an IT company and I was earning a pretty good salary out there. And that was something that was known by the whole family. So when I transitioned from that IT role into a legal profession where I would be only paid something for my travel in my first 3 years of internship, The family had its own doubts and questions. Ki why is he leaving such a well-paying job and getting into something which is not even going to earn him anything proper? And now those same set of people come to me for advice. So yeah, that's a full life circle. But yes, you have to be mentally strong. You have to say that no matter what happens, I will overcome. And that's the thing. Like today, there's no current right now over here, but yeah, we're still talking. All's good.
My name is Teja Dinesh. Sir, actually,
Yes, Teja, please go
yeah,
ahead.
I was in NCC and I had represented Karnataka and Goa Directorate in the year 2004 in the RD camp, and I was selected as the Guard of Honor for the PM. And even at that time, the minister was Defense Minister was George Fernandez, sir, and Sheila Dikshit was the Delhi Chief Minister. So I have done the Guard of Honor for all of them, and that is why it is like it was my dream to join Indian Army, but unfortunately I didn't had much support. But now my wish is to join my son to Indian Army. So now he is pursuing his 12th standard, and this time he had applied for NDA, which is going to happen on April 12th. So actually, again, now I have, I mean, like lack of contact and knowledge about that. But here, and actually, I stay in Mysore. So here, I had met a person called Colonel Ravi Shirahatti. He's into JAC. So I had spoke to him, and today the reason I wanted to attend this training just because like I thought like somewhere I'll get a contact wherein I can guide my son in a proper way. So I would just like to ask your number if it's like you told you'll share your number. So I think I'll contact you later, sir. Thank you so much.
Sorry, ma'am. And Teja, ma'am, absolutely wonderful to meet a fellow NCC cadet. And that too, you've been for the RDC, so you've known the entire process. And I'm very happy that today you are motivating your son to get into the forces. Any help that I could provide, any assistance that I could provide, I'd be more than happy. My number is already shared earlier, and you can also, if required, I can again share it again, no problem. And best wishes to your son. He's answering his NDA entrance exam, and I'm more than sure he'll make you proud. The dream that you saw, I'm more than sure, during his piping ceremony or the piping ceremony, as we call it, the OTA that he will be passing out from, or the IMA that he'll be passing out from, I'm sure you will go there and fulfill your dream through him. So, best wishes to you. And as I mentioned earlier, any support required from our side, we're more than happy to share.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. And even one more thing, even last year, actually, I mean, like the dream is still there with me. It is like, I even tried to, try this territorial army, which you have told. So it is still 42 years. And, but then like they had mentioned that you should be working or you should have, I mean, like if you're an entrepreneur or a working female, it will be easy. Then I thought like, no, because both the things I'm not doing right now. So then I just dropped it out.
I'm sure through your son, you are now living the dream, and let's work on him so that he can complete your dream.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm also seeing a question in the chat box from Manisha. So, how to be consistent with what we start in our life? It may be any habit in our daily life. Okay, that's what at least I do. I write it down. I write it down. I have my diary. I always carry my diary. Nowadays, it's the e-diary, but it's always there with me. If you come to my office, in my office, exactly opposite to where I sit in my cabin, there's a whiteboard with things to do. So that's something that I make sure that I have. It's again something that helps in keeping a target and achieving the target. Because today's training session, Lakshya is goal. If you set a goal, then only you can achieve it. If you don't set a goal, you will not achieve it. How to be consistent? Set a long-term goal. At the end of 30 days, I want ABC. So you start working on those ABC from now onwards, right? And that's the best way to do it. Please write it down. That's the best way to make sure that you remain consistent. Because when you write it down, it reminds you कि ये करना है. Otherwise, we just have it at the back of our mind. We have thousand things at the back of our minds. We'll end up doing none. And the day you do it, tick mark. The day you don't do it, cross. So you know you have your own personal report card. Nowadays, no teacher is going to put tick mark and cross for us at our age, right? It has to be me, myself, or we ourselves. So that's why. That's something that you can try to share.
Thank you, Jason.
No doubt that we had a lovely trainer, fantastic trainer. So somebody can give a feedback. Yes, Sitesh, I see your hand raised.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for accepting the invite. It's so relevant. It's so personal, also the way you spoke from your own experience. I'm sure very lot of people have joined and a lot of people have gained experience and also got a first hand from you on what to do and how to go about it. And it's a busy day on a holy, and we are really thankful for you for taking that session. Thank you, sir. It was wonderful.
Hello, my name is Caleb. This was a very informative class. I would like to join when I grow up, and it has always been my dream to join the army and serve my country. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Motivational.
Wonderful. By looking at the young kids, I think our session today has been successful. Thank you.
Right, you are. Right,
Thank you,
are.
sir.
Any more feedbacks? If not, I think we can come to the conclusion of Lakshya. So as we conclude Lakshya, let me please call upon our very own Secretary Anjali Hari for the vote of thanks.
On behalf of JCI Triprayar, I extend to see Senator Advocate Eeshan Usapkar for delivering a session filled with honesty, discipline, and purpose. Thank you, sir, for sharing not only career pathways but also the mental strength, lifestyle, and character requirement that define life in uniform. Your journey from the army to law and training has deeply inspired all of us. I sincerely thank our President Sitesh Shashidharan for his leadership and vision, our Program Director JC Sen Nirmala Parameshwaran for meticulous planning, and VP JFM Raji Suraj for guiding the community development focus. Special appreciation to the local governing board team JCI Triprayar for their coordination, digital execution, promotions, and seamless conduct of this online session. My thanks to every participant who chose to spend this evening investing and nation building awareness. Thank you.
Thank you, Anjali, for that vote of thanks. Now, as we conclude Lakshya, let today remain a turning point in our life. Serving the nation begins with discipline in thought, courage in choices, and commitment in action. Let's remember this, especially today when March 3 becomes a very important day in our life. Thank you, Eeshan sir, for this wonderful session. A dear friend of mine from long standing, and it's lovely to have you in our midst again. Okay, hope to have more sessions from you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you everybody at JCI Triprayar for this wonderful opportunity. God bless you all. Looking forward to meet you someday in person too. Thank you, everybody.
God bless you. God bless everybody, and good night.